Hey everybody, so I have another book. I've been doing a lot of reading lately. So I've got another book for you. This one is The Coddling of the American Mind by Greg Lukianoff and Jonathan Haidt. And this is a book that I've actually been wanting to read for quite some time and hadn't gotten around to it until now. I did really like it. I thought that, you know, it really tried to take, sometimes overly so, a middle of the road approach to what's going on. And so they wrote this in 2018. They are both professors. I forget which colleges, but they're both professors. One was at UVA, and I can't remember where the other one was. But they noticed this change in attitude on campus, specifically among the students, like around 2013. And they got together and were trying to figure out why students were all of a sudden feeling unsafe when it came to like emotional things, why they were demanding, censorship and that kind of stuff. And so this book is essentially about, what's going on campus, why, and they do go into like how to fix it. Now, it was written in 2018, and so a lot of stuff's happened since 2018. But so I think, they definitely show their bias. They are both on the left. They admit that they're both on the left, that neither of them, at least at the time, had ever voted for Republicans. And it seems like they and I'm not saying that it's not correct to say that things happen on both sides, that there's like extremes on both sides, but the extreme on the left seems to be like much more volatile. And like they talk about like, well, yes, there is that extreme on the left, and yes, it is happening, but there's this extreme on the right too. But then when they talk about the extreme on the right, they talk about things that like a couple of things now that have been maybe at the time it wasn't known to be a hoax, but now it is. And like, or they don't give all of the information about surrounding a situation that happened, on the right, where they're saying that it's the right is instigating, but they didn't give all of the information surrounding the situation. So it's worse than they make it sound worse than it was. And I think that that's just a product of their bias and their, and maybe not having all of the information at the time. But anyway, now, so those things being said, I actually thought the book was really good, and it points out some really, really good points for why things are happening. So they start the book out of the like three universal untruths, the three bad ideas that like people are basically living their lives by now. The first one is the untruth of fragility, that whatever doesn't kill you makes you weaker. So this is like the, keep everyone safe kind of mentality. The untruth of emotional reasoning, always trusting your feelings. So again, like this is the like my truth kind of thing. And the untruth of us versus them, life is a battle between good people and evil people. And that's looking at, the person on that side of things is my enemy. And so they go into detail about each of those. Then they go, the second part of the book is about, like, they give specific details about what has happened up to that point on campuses. They profile what happened at Evergreen, what happened at Middlebury College, so they profile those. And then, then they go through, and this was the part that I found the most interesting, was section 3, which is how did we get here? And they have, I think, six 6 overlapping reasons why kids have changed their attitude. And it's like a lot of it has to do with this mentality of safetyism, of like keeping kids safe at all times, not letting them go out and play all the time, you know, or not all the time, but not letting them go out and play with other kids without supervision anymore. And like how anxious and depressed teens have gotten in recent years. You know, and right now people like to blame it on, oh, well, it's COVID's fault. Well, no, it was happening before COVID. And you can read books written before COVID and see that teens were becoming more anxious and depressed even before the pandemic. So it really has nothing to do with that. I mean, it exacerbated it for sure, but it was happening before. And, you know, just like helicopter parenting, like parents just being too overbearing and keeping their kids busy with structured stuff as opposed to letting them like do unstructured play. And actually, I thought that this is a great book for parents, to be honest. I read it as a parent going, I need to get my kid out and play with other kids more and just let him play unsupervised with other kids more. And it's tough where we live because we don't live in a neighborhood. And if we did, it'd be a lot easier. And then the last part is like how to kind of overcome this stuff. And this is the part where I thought like, yeah, as a, like, oh, gee, it's so wonderful. Like bring everyone into the fold and, you know, sounds great, but I thought it was a little naive. And especially, you know, with the way things are now. And like at the end, they were like, yeah, this will all blow over soon. Like in the next couple of years, it'll all be. And it's like nothing but worse now. So I really liked the book. You know, aside from some things where I just kind of was like, really? But those were few and far between, like really few and far between. And I tried to check my bias on a lot of them too, where I was like, okay, well, this situation I don't know as much about, so maybe what they're saying really is what happened. But then there were other times where I was like, okay, I know that that's not true. Or I know that there was more surrounding the circumstances of that. So, you know, because obviously I have my bias too, and I try to check it when I'm, you know, reading things like this. But I think overall, it was a really good middle of the road, you know, take on what's happening, what was happening then, you know, 5 years ago, and what's happening now, you know, to a much greater degree. So anyway, really liked the book. Check it out, Coddling of the American Mind, How Good Intentions and Bad Ideas Are Setting Up a Generation for Failure. That is Greg Lukianoff and Jonathan Haidt. So great book, great read, quick read, well written, and check it out. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share it, subscribe, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Bye.